I just realized I got to do some more maintenance on my rear end of my four-wheeler here. I was getting some loud squeaking coming from the rear end, and I didn't know why. I was looking around, and I noticed that all my bushings in the back of this rear end are bad. I'm gonna bring you in so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see like this bushing right here. It is pretty much met its days of service, and the one inside is not even in there. And if we look at that side and we go on the other side, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's pretty bad. The lower bushings here on the rear end are the same way. They're not even, you don't even see them. So, and the stabilizing bushings they have been crushed and probably not doing much of anything right now. So, like I said, we're just gonna go through, replace all the bushings, and see what the squeak is. Alright, I've been looking at this, trying to figure out what's the best attack to get this off without having to take everything loose. Just a quick note, I told you about the squeaking. I got some squeaking here in this brake caliper, but that's not the main squeak. I can hear a squeak going off somewhere in the middle there. I don't know. I took the plug off to check see if it was any oil in the transmission, and there is oil in the transmission. I don't know if it's the right level, but like I said, I got it jacked up right now. So, but we're gonna just concentrate on these bushings, because if more I look, all the bushings are gone. This bushing here is gone. The one on the other side looks okay, but like I said, I'm gonna switch them all out anyway. The bushings right here, they're gone. The one side is gone. The other side is still in there, and both of these are gone bad. So I'm just gonna start taking stuff off. What I think I can do, I can take the top, the stabilizing bar off first. Then I can take this top off, and I'm gonna leave the shock on right now, because that'll hold the bottom up where I need it. Then if I can get these two off here, hopefully I can pull it out this way to put those bushings in there without having to take apart this whole spindle part right here. So let me start taking it apart and see what we can come up with. Yeah, these bolts are different. This was a 1/2 inch bolt, which is crazy. Then this one's a 14 millimeter bolt here. And this Harbor Freight little deal here is pretty cool. It works out good. Like I said, it was $99 on a coupon special, and it saves your wrist, I can tell you that. So, it's a nice cheap little deal that actually works. So we're going to try to keep all this stuff together in the order that came off. So now I'm going to take this part off here, before I can move that up and down and whatever I need to. I'm going to put this bolt back in here before I know exactly where it came out of. That'll help a lot when I go to put it back together. The axle would be in the way to take this screw totally out. That's one thing I was trying to get around, not having to take this axle out. Why wouldn't they put that round the other way? And I know this other side is way closer, and it's not going to come out. So I'm going to have to take this axle out. And it looks like I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom off here to get this spindle off, so I can pull the axle out. That's the only way I'm going to get these bolts out of here.
I got like I guess a little spacer in there for it won't collapse, so one on both sides. Okay, we're gonna try to remove this axle out of the way before we can get these two bolts out of the side here. I try not to take the spindle off, but I might have to. But I got a little plate here that I could pull this axle. We want to try to pull that axle straight as possible to get it to release from the circlip that's holding it in the rear end there. So we just want to try to give it a good pull, and it should come out just that easy. So now we can get the two bolts out of here, and we don't have to take the spindle part loose. Now we got the axle out the way, we can go ahead and remove the bolts that hold this top A-arm in. And that's how we get the top A-arm out. And like I said, yeah, like you can see, it's no bushings in there. It's a piece of one that's in here. I forgot to tell you guys, this bolt that was in here was a 16mm bolt. Everything else has been a 14mm, except for the bolt to hold this arm on the suspension part there. That was a 1/2 inch for some odd reason. But we're gonna, like I said, just take this shock off. And like I said, that was a 14mm bolt. Now we can move the bottom A-arm here, and I tried to get all the dirt out the way out of these little ports and holes and all that good stuff, so it won't be all over the floor. I'm getting me a pair of pliers and just clamp on that side, because these bushings are gone, so that way I don't have to worry about clamping on the bushing, because it's not there, which is a good thing to get it off. And it looks like it's working pretty good here. So this other side is coming loose. We got the other side loose. Now we can loosen this side, and I want to thank Shannon for that idea. It worked pretty good, so that way we can move on. And as you can see, this rod that's in the inside was holding it on to the actual four-wheeler. And as you can see, it's awful dirty. It's got plenty of old mud and gunk on it. So now that we got it off, we can clean everything up and start putting the bushings back in. Okay, now that I got my parts cleaned up, I got the shaft cleaned up on my wire wheel, and I used I got a long wire brush that I could push down in there and brake part cleaner to clean all that gunk and old grease and grime out of there. So what we want to do now is start putting the bushings back on. I got it looked in my pack here and pulled out one of the long bushings that goes in here, and like I said, you can't, well, you can almost get it out. We're just gonna tap that in all the way till it gets to the bottom, and we're going to turn it over and do the other side here. So now we can put this back together. I like to put just a little grease on this uh, just to just to just to be greased before we put actual grease in the grease zerp here. So I'm just gonna got a little thing of grease here. I'm not gonna get crazy with it. I just wanna, I guess just for my mind to say, okay, I do have some grease on it, and it should work out pretty good. So trying to find paper towel, clean my hand off here. And like I said, we're just gonna slide that in there, and we can slide this back in the four-wheeler here. It might be a little tight because it's a new bushing on it. That's what we want, nice snug. Let me bring it up so you can see what I'm doing here. Nice snug fit here. Get our screwdriver, start lining the holes up so we can put one of the bolts in. Alright, I got it lined up now. I'm just trying to tighten it up. Okay, we got the bottom bushings in. Let's see if we got the right bushing for this. I don't know what you call these here on the end here, but look at my bag of tricks here. Okay, I believe that is that. Okay, I was afraid that we might not have those bushings, but we do. So they just pop in like that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put that shock bolt back in there. That way it'll hold up everything so I can put the needs more than a little love tap. It needs a love hug. The next step here, what we're gonna do, I don't want to put the spindle on first because I got to put the shaft, the drive shaft back in. I got to put the bolts back in for this before I put the drive shaft back in. So, okay, I cleaned the two bolts that go, well, they not bolts, but they I want to call them separators. What's a good name for that? Spacers. Let's go with spacers on that. Then I reached in my bag of tricks and got the bushings. This bushing is just that long, so it's one go on both sides of each arm here. Just gonna tap them in. That one doesn't need to be tapped in. This one doesn't either, and that one doesn't either. So like I said, we want to make sure we put that in right. The hump part goes on the top, and I'm going to put a little grease. Well, I'm going to put more than a little grease on these spacers here to go in both of these arms, because they don't have a grease zerk to actually grease them. So we need to grease these up pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to smother a lot of little grease on this here, and if my bushing would stay in. I know this goes in here because I took it out when the shock was still in here, so it should go back in there with the shock still in there. I need you to stay in there. Now that we got that back in there, we can go ahead and put this drive shaft back in. I'm gonna grease the end of it before we can it never hurts to grease stuff like that. It helps with corrosion and it rusting and all that type thing, because like I said, your four-wheeler go in all kinds of water and there's no telling what else it goes into, so we're gonna make sure we grease that up pretty good. Let's see if we can get the excess grease off our fingers. There we go. That should be that easy on that. Okay, the next thing we want to do is put the bottom spindle part back in the bottom A-arm. Like I said, we already got the bushings in there. We just got to put these spacers in. The spacers got to go back and fit inside this little groove on the spindle. So I'm trying to line this one side up and give it a little love tap, and it should go in there. And I'm going to do the same for this other side here. Trying to line it up with the spindle. When you have it, you'll know it, because it should just slide in. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put the bolts back in it. Everything tightened back up here. So, and the next bushing is here on top. You can see that bushing just falling apart. And got a lot of excess in there. I'm gonna get my finger stuck in there, but so we reach in here in our bushing bag and pull out us 2 more bushings here to go on either side of this here. So that is, it's good to go. Simple as that. We're going to bring the top A-arm back down. So we're going to go ahead and put the bolt back here in the top. And this is not like a suspension on a truck. Like I said, if this was a truck A-arm, I would have to put this down on the ground and tighten up everything once it's down on the ground on riding level. Riding height, but this is free floating. Like I said, these are still moved no matter how much you tighten them because of the spacers inside of them, so we don't have to worry about tightening up everything once it gets on the ground at riding height. So we should be safe with that. Okay, everything is tightened back up. The only thing I got to do is put the bushing on for this arm and the stabilizer bushings here, which I don't have those right now. They're coming in. They'll probably be here in about 2 days, so we'll come back in 2 days and finish that out. Everything should be the same on this side as it is for the other side over there that I hadn't got to yet, which shouldn't be a big deal. Like I said, everything's the same on that side. So guys, I come back, we'll finish this up once I get the stabilizing bushings. Alright guys, it's 2 days later and we did get the parts in.
we did get the stabilizing bushings for the back stabilizer here, and this is the part number for that. If we remember, we have the stabilizing bar with the top link that goes on the support bar here, and this part goes at the bottom and it stacks on top like that. So, but what we're gonna have to do, I'm gonna go ahead and put the new stabilizing bushings on the boat here and at the top, but we're gonna have to put the wheels back on and get it down on the ground to tighten it up to get the right riding height for this stabilizing bar. So first thing I'm gonna do is, but to let you know, I did change the bushings and the stabilizer support here. This little bar that's in here does slide, but you're gonna have to get a hammer and hit one side, knock one side out to be able to get this bushing in here, because it's awful tight on this bar and it's square, and you can't twist it to get it to come off. So you have to hit it with a hammer and knock it off one side, then, because it does move, and that's one thing we gotta look at when we put it back to get the right spacing on each side, for we won't have one more linked on this side than the other side. But right now I'm gonna get the stabilizing bar here, and if we remember, this is two pieces. One goes on the bottom and this stabilizing bar goes on the top. So that's why I kept it together, so I know how the orientation of these bushings go back in. And as you can see, like here on the new one, they got a little cutout that goes down in this kind of oval type hole here in the top A-arm here. So just remember, when you put it back in, make sure this little cutout on here is going down into this little oval hole here. So to get the new one, and remember on the bottom, that little cutout has to be going top wise. I don't know if top wise is a word, but I'm gonna use it. And we want to just try to get it to slide in here, which it should. Then we get another stabilizing bushing and go on top of it. And we're going to put the washer back on top of that. So then we can get this little stabilizer adjustment bar here and just screw it down hand tight. Just to hold it in there. Well, let me get my... We just want to get it in there snug so it doesn't move around and come out of this little hole that it's supposed to sit in. Wrong wrench. It will never work if you got the wrong wrench. And like I said, I got my trusty adjustable wrench here, just to tighten it up snug so it doesn't move. I think that's in there good. And we're going to do the same thing for the top, I guess you call it link arm. We're going to take it apart, take the top bushing out, make sure the little cutout is up, and we're going to place it down inside the little bar here. And we're going to get a new one going on the bottom with the little tab up. Then we're going to just put the bolt in here so it doesn't come off. Now we got to line everything up here on the top of this stabilizing bar here. I want to make sure it goes down into this bar here straight and it don't basically run it down in there the wrong way. So I'm going to use my regular wrench that I got down here. I just want to make sure it's going down in there good before I use a power tool to like I said, I just want to get it snugged up because this arm needs to be straight level when you tighten it up. So I'm gonna have to put the wheels back on, and I'm gonna do the other side, and we should be done with this installation. Okay, now we got the tires and stuff back on. I've been trying to get all this stuff lined up here with the stabilizing bushings and the stabilizing bar, and I found out that when you put this bottom one on, if you go ahead and snug it up until the bolt on the bottom just start crushing the stabilizing bushing, it'll make it a lot easier, because with the tire on, it's hard to get a wrench on there and turn this adjustment bar right here. So when you put this on, go ahead and snug it up tight to where it just starts crushing the stabilizing bushing, and it'd be nice if you put a dab of Loctite on the nut, because that nut, you don't want it tightened up too tight for it to crush this, but you want it in there tight enough for it don't come out. So a little dab of Loctite, blue Loctite, would probably be good on that. And we're going to go ahead and tighten up the top stabilizing bushings now. As you can see on this top stabilizing bushing, when I put pressure on the four-wheeler, you see how this support bar separates right here. So we need to tighten that up until it doesn't separate when you put weight down on it. So get my trusty adjustable wrench here and just hold the adjustment bar, and we're gonna, first off, we want to make sure that the tabs are lined up here on the top one and the bottom one. So when you tighten it up, you don't have to untighten it, which will be loosened. But I think we should be good on that. And I'm just gonna tighten it up, just to where it starts crushing that stabilizing bushing. You don't want to go crazy on that. And I'm just gonna put some more weight on it and see if it separates. See, it's still separating a little bit. We just snug it up just a little bit more and we should be good. You don't want to over tighten that. Like I said, you'll ruin that bushing. And alright, I think that's pretty good. If you notice over time that these bolts are loosening up, just go ahead and tighten them back up. Put your
like I said, if you put a little Loctite on them right now, it'd probably be the best thing. But other than that, we should be done with the installation. I'm gonna put some grease in the new bushings in the A-arm, the bottom A-arm, and other than that, we should be done.
Alright guys, that's another job well done. We got all the bushings in. My four-wheeler probably would like me here the next couple of years for these new bushings in the back. Like I said, this is a 2006 Polaris Sportsman, and it's, what's that, almost 13 years old, and I've never did anything to the bushings in the back. So it was well needed. But guys, the next video, I'm gonna be changing the oil in this four-wheeler, and don't, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And other than that, guys, I appreciate you watching, and everything will be down in the description, all the kits, the bushing kits that I used, and where I got them from. So alright guys, we out of here. To the next video. Thanks for watching.